Ladies and gentlemen, it's finally here. The Wuling Base. That's right, only a base for now, not mega, since Wuling is locked behind patches and resources are really scarce. And again, because there's a limit to how much you can fit in a blueprint, it is split into 6 different parts this time, but they're really easy to set up. These are all the materials you need to instantly build the setup. 2 Forge of the Sky, 9 grinding units, 16 depot unloaders, 9 seed picking units, 17 planting units, 19 shredding units, 16 refining units, 2 packaging units, 1 reactor crucible, 1 gearing unit, 1 filling unit, 1 molding unit, 2 fitting unit, 8 protocol stash, and 21 pylons. And the next one is just optional, but if you want to build it, add these extra amount to the existing ones. 2 more grinding units, 5 more depot unloaders, 5 more shredding units, 1 packaging unit, 2 more protocol stash, and 4 more pylons. As usual, blueprint codes will be available in the pinned comments, and to change things up, NA and EU server is included this time with Asia. That's why it took me a while, because I was trying to find someone who's willing to let me log into their account to build the base and get the blueprints. Now before we start, there are a few requirements for this build. 1. You need to finish the story. 2. Regional development should be at level 4 so that some of the locked mineral beds can be used. And 3. You need to buy the first area expansion and the first 2 depot bus upgrades. They're really cheap. Without further delay, let's get started.
Alright, so we finally have the AIC for Wuling, and I'm gonna show you guys how to set up because there are 6 parts to this base and I am going to be splitting them in segments. Now this factory produces everything you need, at least for what's available right now in Wuling. We have the Valley Battery, the Xiranite components, and of course the Yazen syringe. God, that's a hard word to pronounce. And those things are used to like trade with Chingbo Stockade, your outpost, which you can see here. Yes, you can trade Yazen syringe for 16 or LC Wuling battery for 25. Now, there are actually parts in Wuling where you cannot access because it's blocked by the blight behind me, so I'm gonna show you later how to unlock those using the factory. Alright, so for people who just want to copy the base manually, I will show you parts of it here so that you can easily copy and the facility position and the routes of the belts. This factory can produce again Xiranite components, LC Wuling battery, and the Yazen syringe. Now let's clean this up so that I can tell you guys how to set it up properly. So first order of business is set up the depot buses and the depot storage. This one, depot bus port and the depot storage sections in a row like this. Now how do you measure? So we're gonna use our AIC as a measuring stick. So this one can fit a thermal bank, 1 thermal bank and 1 AIC, and then the rest you just put the rest of these in a row like this. Now you can do it either this way or this way. I recommend this way since the water is facing down and the water source that we will need will be at the bottom, so it's much more easier in terms of access. So let's just remove the thermal bank and then let's go over to the blueprints. Now you need to first choose base 1. Now there is actually a few steps that you need to do here. So first, place them inside the blueprint. And now what I need you to do is move this over 1 tile on the side, these pylons, so that they're just slightly on the outside. The reason for that is because I wanted it to be as compact as possible. However, I couldn't find anywhere to place this because if I move this here, those two will not be powered, and I don't want to use any more pylons to just put something here. So just put them here slightly outside, and then once you have done that, highlight everything again except those pylons, and then I selected the pipe. Don't worry, there will be no pipes in your base, and move it over to the edge. As you can see, the unloader is on the very edge of the map. There you go. And then you just need to connect it with water just like this, straight to the Forge of the Sky. Now I will show you later what to put in the planting units. We just need to set up the base first. So next, we have base 2. Now this one is actually just a planter that we will be using later. And then next one is base 3. Now this one is very important because this is the one that will be producing your gold gears. So just put them here beside this. As you can see, the conveyor belts on the right side are connecting, or not really connecting, but they're close to each other. And also this one here, make sure that the planting unit is on the very edge because this build is actually kind of tight in space as well. Now, this one is the most interesting part because this is essentially the same one as this, which is the Xiranite production. However, there are actually two blueprints that you can use here. So that's why you see here there's base 3 mod A and base 3 mod B. So base 3 mod A is the one that makes Xiranite components. So if we place this here, make sure the refining units here or these things line up. That's the perfect fit for them. So these ones will be producing gear, the Xiranite components. However, if you think you have enough Xiranite components, you can just highlight these, like as well these belts as well, and these ones, stash them, and you can use mod B. Now what mod B does is a slightly inefficient battery production, because as you can see here, in order to be really efficient with your battery production, you need 3 dense ferroriginium powder. As it requires here, you need, where is it? Wuling battery. 15. One production line of dense originium powder counts as 5, so it's a ratio of 3 to 1. So this one is slightly inefficient, but that's okay because this is a backup, and you don't want to produce batteries all the time. You would want Xiranite components for your gear. So let's just stash those for now and go back to mod A, base 3 mod A. And same thing, just make sure these line up and this will fit perfectly. Now you now see what I mean about making sure that this is on the correct space, because this one has no room for error. And now the final part is base 4, which is essentially what's going to be crafting your Yajan syringe. These ones. And these ones you use to sell again in the outpost in order to level up your outpost, and also for stock builds. Now, don't you ever trade with Xiranite, please. These are very useful later on, especially during the early part of the video where I will show you how to clear out the blight on that area in order to access it. So here, starting with this water planter, this one has water connected to it. I need you to put here Yajan. And this one here, the rest actually of the planters, I need you to put sandleaf. There we go. Everything is now in place. We'll just wait until everything processes, and then I'll show you guys the output of this factory. So I'll be with you in a sec. Alright, we're back. So this is going to be the items you're going to be producing. So if we scroll down here, LC Wuling battery produces 6 a minute, and we use like 2. Don't worry, that will turn into 1 later. Just hold on to that for a moment. And then where is the syringe? I forgot to pin it. Ah, here we go. Yajan syringe, we produce 3 a minute, and also there we go. Xiranite component, we produce 3 a minute. Now the reason why it's so inefficient is because this Xiranite component takes 10 seconds to produce, and you need 10 packed Origo crust and 10 Xiranite. Now, one Forge of the Sky can produce 1 every 2 seconds. However, we are limited by how many Forge of the Sky we can put. We are limited to 2, only 2. So that's why we are going to be spreading our Forge of the Sky into 2 parts, which is for the battery and 1 for the components. Now, if you really need battery, you can just switch this over, remove this, and turn it into like the battery mod I showed you earlier. But I suggest just waiting for this year, just so you can have or you can craft gear for your operators. It can produce like 6 a minute, but I don't know why it says 3 a minute in the report. Something is wrong with there. Now you might have noticed in the report that we are actually eating more ferrium than we can mine. That's because I have already placed every single miner in every area, and this is the only source of ferrium we can have right now. Now I'd imagine this will be upgraded in the future, but for now resources is really limited in Wuling until we get the future update for the region. So again, this will produce battery, components, and syringe, both of which, no, not really both. Syringe and battery you use to trade with the outpost. And don't worry, as you progress further, you will slowly be able to like increase the regional development. So as you can see here, I think this is as high as we can get right now. I don't think we can go over to like 6, or maybe we can, because it says it's available here, so maybe we can. But if you check, it doesn't offer any like purity increase, just like zipline and protocol capacity. So yeah, just get used to this for now. This is as efficient as the base can be. And once the entire region is revealed, I will be updating this base into a mega base, just like in Valley 4. So if you're really short on ferrium, just make sure to go to one of your facilities or production lines that produce or use ferrium and turn them off. This one in particular, because this one produces a duplicate, and this one supplies a duplicate what do you call this, ferrium into the molding unit. So just turn off the ones that produce duplicate products. So this way you can still produce ferrium bottles and steel parts, but at a slower rate. Alright, at least that solves the problem. Unfortunately, there is no way to fix that right now. You are really limited in resources in Wuling. Now, since I made all of this for you guys, what do I need from you? I just need you to make sure that every pipe that you see on the blueprint is connected to a pump, okay? That's the only thing that I ask from you. Everything else is already taken care of by me. You just need to make sure that every pipeline that you see on the blueprint is connected to a pump. Alright? I don't care how you deal with it, as long as you pump it up with water. Alright? That's the only thing I need. What I also need from you next is unlock these 2 upgrades and the area expansion one. The area expansion one is really cheap. I think I remember only spending like 10k stock bills on it, as well as on these ones. These are really cheap to get. It's only the last ones that are very expensive. And also, for some reason, the blueprints you see on the pinned comments is shielded by parentheses. So make sure to just copy the inside content without the parentheses, because for some reason, making it that way where it's shielded by a parentheses makes the code work 100% of the time. I don't know why. Hypergriff needs to figure out what's wrong with the code.
We're now at the Wuling Outpost. Now, the build that I'm about to show you guys is very complex. In fact, I think you guys might struggle with this. Yeah, so the outpost is just filled with batteries and also thermal banks. Honestly, with how scarce resources is in Wuling, you cannot really build anything in the outpost. All you can do is just upgrade it and prepare it for the future update, and that's really it. Otherwise, this is just the beating heart of the Wuling factory right now. And if you want to take a closer look, let's take a closer look. It's just rows and rows, going in spiral, powering this thermal bank here and then this thermal bank here. You don't really need anything, trust me. In fact, you can even put this in the main AIC area and you don't have to bother with the outpost at all until we have more resources to work with. So I showed you earlier there is a path blocked by the blight. So how do you remove the blight? Well, you use this. So this one produces liquid Xiranite in a bottle. And as you remember, we have a gadget that can use to spray water or any liquid you put into it. So we're gonna take advantage of this. So let's first produce liquid Xiranite. So right now we are supplying this with bottles. That's fine. So how it works, ferrium travels to the refining unit, refines it to refine ferrium, transfer it to the molding unit, and then
produces bottles, transferring it to the filling unit. But in order to make liquid Xiranite, you need Xiranite. So how do we do that if we already have all the Xiranite being used for the components and the battery? So just temporarily set up this, a protocol stash and a belt leading there. And then just give it power, and then it gets transferred to the depot. Now, once it gets transferred to the depot, assign this to be dishing out or spitting out Xiranite. That Xiranite will then travel into the reactor crucible, and then once it arrives, it will make liquid Xiranite. There we go. It's now making liquid Xiranite. So we then assign the liquid Xiranite onto one of the tubes, and then it gets transferred over to the filling unit to fill the bottle with liquid Xiranite. And then this is an optional one. You can turn this off if you want to so that it just stays here. Because again, you don't really need much of the liquid Xiranite. You just need a few just to clear out a few blights on the road. This will be enough. And then we go back to turning this off and then removing this one here. There we go. That's removed, and remove this as well. So it will again continue to produce batteries. Now, since we have liquid Xiranite on us, if we press R to the jet drone, we now have liquid Xiranite, and we can now spray liquid Xiranite. So we're back where the pathway is blocked by the blight, and then you just whip out your jet drone and then just spray. And find the core. There we go. And then just spray it. And done. And now there's a hidden path here. Now there's a boss fight here. So I am alone, so I'm not going to be facing that right now. But there are a few chests, as you can see. There are 3 over there. So yeah, that's how you clear a path blocked by the blight. So I assume in the future update, especially when new areas unlock, there will be more areas blocked by the blight. So this is a useful knowledge for you to have right now. But thank you so much for watching. Again, you guys absolutely smashed the previous video I did with the mega base. Hopefully we get to have access to more resources soon, because I really want to provide you guys with a mega base. Thank you so much for watching again. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications for future Endfield content. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Scratch that, I lied. I forgot there's this thing here behind me. So yeah, the same thing again. You just use the jet drone, supply it with liquid Xiranite, and then just spray until you find the core. The core is usually located where the highlight is. There it is. And now you have access to this here, which is also a rare growth area. But yeah, that's really the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.